All right. This is the Texas Cornhole Show. And today, Grant couldn't make it today. It's Haley's birthday, and so he's not here. And in his stead, I have the one and only Mr. Matty Pruitt.
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm here. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Well, now that the microphone's fixed, I'm doing a lot better. Look, we got new lighting for everybody who watches the show on YouTube. You might notice that the lighting is a little bit improved.
You see my face?
So we got baby steps, baby steps. Every once in a while, we make a little improvement. Things get better. So Maddie, now I know you because actually I know you before Powder Keg and before Big
Yeah,
D,
yeah,
right? We were playing in league together at the TCL league.
yeah. And Crandall.
Yep.
Um, little fun fact. I don't know if you remember this or not, but me and you won
Oh, I
a
remember.
Switch
I
together.
remember because you were like, "This is the first one I've won,"
Yeah,
and
it
it
was
was
my.
at
It was at Forney Ice House. It was like
yeah.
a Memorial Day Switch or something. I can't remember. It was a holiday Switch.
That's back when I was actually pretty good. Those are my pretty good
I was
days.
very bad. I was being coached by you the entire time of how bad I was.
Do you remember what bags we threw? Yetis,
S-
purple Yetis.
No,
Is
they
that wrong?
were they were purple, green and purple WTF tangos.
Oh, they weren't Yetis.
They
They were
weren't Yetis,
Tangos.
they were tangos. And
Oh,
I threw slick side down the entire time because you said I could not move them up the board good enough.
I did say that?
Yeah,
Okay, well, it worked out. We
it
won.
won. We
Yeah.
won. I don't care. I mean, I literally fresh. That had to have been 3 or 4 years ago. Three, at least three or
Yeah,
four.
that was back when I kind of first started playing in leagues and stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, man. And then I made Big D. You started Powder Keg. Why don't you let everybody know what Powder Keg is?
So Powder Keg Limited is I I'm calling it a lifestyle brand, um, lifestyle clothing. I say that because I I want to create an apparel or clothing for you to wear anywhere in the world. I understand that I've kind of anchored myself, no pun intended, but I've anchored myself into cornhole to start this brand, but I don't want you to just wear it at cornhole. I'd like to see my stuff out on date nights or you going to the zoo or just in your everyday life. But yeah, it's just something that I wanted to start. I enjoy clothing. I enjoy doing designs and creating stuff, and it's really cool to see your stuff being worn.
Yeah.
Besides cornhole, that's my whole point to that. It's like it's really cool. I love all the support I've ever gotten. But whenever you see your stuff out in the wild, that's when it's like, okay, this is cool enough for you to wear.
Yeah, and I think, you got your start in Cornell doesn't mean that's where you're going to finish, right?
Right, correct.
And you got a lot of, I would say, even national exposure with the filthy, right?
Yeah,
So if you guys have seen what I've seen a lot of on the old social media all
yeah,
across the country,
right.
it's that Miami look.
The Miami colors with the filthy
Yeah.
across it. Um, it's done really well. It's something, and I'll say this, like the whole limited part on the backside of my brand name is because I wanted to almost do like limited drops of clothing, right?
Yeah.
You don't like, I wanted to be like the newest, you know, sneakerhead kind of thing where you got to wake up and catch a drop just like you have to do with bags. I want you to try and catch this limited apparel. Well, whenever you create something that everybody apparently just likes
Yeah.
so much, you just backed yourself into a corner with
Yeah.
your whole name and filthy's just never going anywhere. It's just stuck.
Yeah, it's filthy. And then Two Scoops came out, was
Yeah,
pretty cool. I've
two
seen a
scoops.
lot of that.
Two
And
scoops was caught.
do you want to let us know what's coming next?
Uh,
Top secret, limited?
I would.
Any hints?
I'll say something. It's dope.
Okay,
And
well,
and I mean, I'll leave it at that. The only reason I'm like holding out, I have said a couple of my designs out loud
yeah.
around people, and they've ended up in other vendors' booths. So
Oh, you're kidding me.
I'm not.
What? People will
People
stab you with a
people will
bag and
take
take
your
your
stuff.
ideas? What,
Yeah,
in the cornhole
who
world?
would do that?
Stop, bro. That's funny. I have no idea what he's talking about.
I know but I mean, it happens in
It
any
happens.
space. So
And I understand like trying to keep your ideas secret, for sure. So hey, is it going to be at the next big signature series event?
it should be.
It should be. So do you
Should be.
drop things typically at events or online?
At first it was just doing events and I like to do like sneak peeks online. But with this hoodie that I'm wearing,
Yeah, I'm kind of digging it.
whenever you start doing, whenever you're in apparel, I mean, I understand you've got a lot of different cost and pricing going into a lot of materials and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But for me, whenever I'm doing clothing, like I'm not trying to like poo poo on anyone and say like, oh yeah, you're just using cheap stuff. I don't want to use cheap stuff. I want you to be able to wear this for a long time. So I try to put a lot of money into it. But whenever say like hoodies can be very
They
expensive to
can't
buy and
be.
makes.
Yeah, I've looked at
And
like
if
yeah.
and if you want to buy high quality hoodies, it
Hmm.
doesn't necessarily have to say Nike or something on it, but just something that you know is going to last a long time, then I'm spending quite a bit of money to drop by 50, 60, 100 of
Yeah.
something.
Those are nice. And the little attention to detail, the checker on the drawstrings.
Well,
It
that's just custom me. I change out all my drawstrings.
oh, that's good for you?
So I'll just buy like random shoe, which I thought about doing for, all of my like hoodies that I
Yeah,
release. I think it'd be cool to have custom
for sure.
shoestrings on your hoodies. But yeah, I did a drop where I dropped it online and let people pre-order it, and I mean that took off really well. I sold, I don't want to say a bunch of numbers, but usually double or triple what I would normally sell because I sold the same amount before and
Yeah.
then add an event. So
All right, cool, man. Well, so the website is powderkegltd.com.
get
So
there.
powderkegltd.com. Check out his stuff. It's cool. Enough of that.
Yeah, who cares about
Enough of the commercials. You guys tuned in, you don't want a commercial. But seriously, their stuff is pretty cool.
Thank you.
Um, all right. This is the Texas Cornhole Show, and we talk about cornhole,
That's
right?
right.
And you got your business started in cornhole, but
Correct.
that's not it. Anyway, what happened the last week of cornhole? Well, a guy from Texas won the biggest event in the world. I think that's fair to say. Although, I don't know the numbers. We'll get into that in a second. But
Yeah,
a big, huge event, ACL Open. That's what a lot of people really cared about. And JBJ goes out there and wins it. He's
just
still got it, folks.
stomps through doubles.
Did you watch it?
I did.
Tell me about it, because I missed it.
Um.
Well, actually, I didn't miss it. Real quick, when Jeremiah Ellis busted out, I was done watching it.
Oh, okay.
I'm rooting for him and trying. I'm waiting for him to win one.
I think JBJ went 8-0. Shout out JBJ. He is one of my sponsored players. So
Oh, cool. He's sponsored by AJ's.
I know
He had some AJ shorts on.
he did.
Yeah.
I don't sponsor him for ACL because that's big people money, and I don't
Uh,
have big people money yet.
yeah.
But
And
but
he's been on the show. We can call him a friend of the show too.
he is a friend of the show,
Yeah.
friend of mine, friend of yours, I'm sure. So, yeah, he went 8-0. Couldn't be stopped. I think he threw like an 11 something on the day.
Dang.
Yeah,
He's
pretty
back,
nuts.
baby. Watch out.
Pretty nuts stats.
Because that guy gets locked in, it's just like it's, you know,
Yeah.
must be um I don't know what the word is. Depressing to have to go, oh gosh, I got to beat that guy when he's just not missing.
Yeah. And huge shout out to the kid that he played in the finals, Tony Forbes, a high
Yeah.
school kid
High school kid.
who I'm, I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure he won high school
Okay.
singles at the high school slash
Okay.
college event that they had a couple months ago. And that kid wasn't missing a whole lot either. Um, just ran into a red hot JBJ.
Right. And that's happened to many people.
Yeah,
All right, so JBJ got first, and I did write down he won $1,200. I'm always
1200.
curious about the money that these pros are making.
What
You
I
got to fly out to San Diego, you got to pay for your hotel rooms. I guess the sponsor probably does that,
Yeah.
but not a lot of people from Texas went to the event. The only other ones I found on the leaderboard um, was Cano. Cano got third in his bracket
Hmm.
in singles, and then in doubles, Almanza and Cano got third in their bracket. So both of those, so Cano placed in the money twice. So he's still up. He's still out there playing really well. Um, so yeah, that's the ACL Open.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Quick and easy.
quick and easy. Now earlier, I mentioned like, was it the biggest cornhole event in the world at this past weekend? I don't know.
I
I don't know
mean,
how many people were there.
it didn't look extremely full.
Yeah,
As far as the broadcast, the live stream goes, really nice event center. Just not didn't see like a whole lot of people. I'd say probably an average of 5 or 600 for an open. I feel like that's kind of low for them. It could have been smaller, but they just. What I will say is, as far as watching a live stream and them scanning cameras, this seemed lower than usual.
I yeah, I didn't tune in that much, but it did seem like a little bit of a lower turnout. Um, there were other events. There was one in Clarksville. The ACO had a major in Clarksville that was really well attended.
Hmm.
Um, I don't have the results for that. Nobody from Texas won because Texas players typically don't travel for ACO.
Hmm.
Um, and then there was one in I don't know, Norway or something, somewhere in Europe, ACO.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah, I did see that. So there was a,
but I'm
um,
sure that was pretty small.
yeah, most likely.
Yeah, I would love to see the comparison between or how many people showed up for Clarkson versus or the ACO event versus the ACL event. Everybody assumes ACL does a lot
Hmm.
more, and
Right.
they probably did, but the ACO Clarksville was pretty well attended.
Yeah.
Um, and all right, the next topic, I'm trying to figure out how to transition to this topic, right?
Right.
Um, let me just say this. Back in the day, years ago, uh, I used to hunt down and find companies that were in financial distress
Hmm.
because I would tell them that they should license their intellectual property, and I'm your guy. That's what
Right.
I used to do. And I just have, so I'm always looking and thinking about companies in financial distress. And I've seen a couple of signs that make me wonder about the American Cornhole League. And are they in financial distress?
Hmm.
And I know that's an absurd thing to even say out loud. Okay. But here are the signs I'm going to point to. First, why haven't they finished booking their American schedule, their US schedule? It is so bizarre to me that they have not booked this season. And I know people are complaining about it. And I've heard, they're negotiating with ESPN, I think is what Trey Ryder said on the Big
Hmm.
Ass Cornhole podcast.
Right.
But dude, these events, like, you have to book these things. Like the
Right.
event locations, my understanding is you can't like last minute book these things and they're moving up. And I assume they're booked and they're not published, which is weird.
Yeah.
Point is bizarre.
But
Why are they not doing that?
well, it's not only why, but I mean, the biggest thing is like you're doing a huge disservice to all of your professional players who travel to these events.
These guys have jobs. They got
Yeah,
to ask for
exactly.
time off.
I mean, I don't think, but
Most of them.
most of them have jobs, unless they're under the age of 18 or retired or just lucky enough to catch some kind of contract. Most of them don't do this full time and
Right.
have a real job, and
Right.
to not be able to ask off for these events months ahead of time, I'm sure creates a giant scheduling conflict for themselves
Yeah.
for work.
It's got to be frustrating. And
Right.
that's weird to me that they haven't published their calendar, their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing that I think is kind of caught my attention is their biggest sponsor. At least, since I've been watching ACL on television, it's all cornhole,
Right.
right? All cornhole is always in the commercials. And a couple years ago, they were the number one company, I'm sure,
Right.
right? Everybody
Right.
wanted a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
It was wildly successful. Um, well, they've shuttered their doors. Or they're not open.
Right.
If you and I don't know any details, okay? I have no inside information. I really don't know what's going on, but what I do know is when I go to their website and want to buy bags, I can't.
Right.
And it's been that way for months.
Mm-hmm.
And there's rumors that BG's buying them, right?
Yeah.
Which means that they're gone. All cornhole is done,
Yeah.
right? Maybe they have some intellectual property that they can license, or maybe they have some equipment they can sell, but it would be liquidation mode. That's what it looks like to me. Now, if you go to their website, it does say at the top, like, new, big, exciting things coming in 2024. But bro, I can't buy bags. Uh, a few years ago, you were a $3 to $5 million company, is what I had it estimated at.
Right.
And you cannot have a company that makes that much revenue, have an infrastructure overhead,
Mm-hmm.
and then not have any revenue. They are not selling anything and haven't for months.
Right.
So that business is dead, in
Yeah.
my opinion. I might be totally wrong. Let me know in the comments below. I'm
Yeah.
just kidding, but I might be wrong about that, right? But am I? They're not selling bags. That's a fact.
How long do you think the website's been shut down?
Well, my best guess, it's not shut down. It's there.
Well,
You can go to the
correct.
website, but
Right. How long has it been
let's say
live?
3 months.
3 months.
Yeah,
That's a lot of money not being spent.
that is 1/4 of your annual revenue.
Right. Yeah.
Which I estimated at $3 to $5 million.
It doesn't take that long for you to unveil whatever you're trying to unveil.
Yeah,
If
that
you're locking to like redo your page,
yeah.
I'm saying if you're doing construction on your page and want to redesign it or something, it doesn't take 3 months.
So I might be dead wrong about this, but it looks to me like that company's out of business and maybe somebody will take over, but really what they're doing is just buying the brand. You don't
Hmm.
know where those bags are made or my bet is employees are gone because if you had employees working and making bags, you'd be selling bags,
Right.
right? Business is shuttered. Okay, so going back to what is ACL in financial trouble? Is that a legitimate question? Well, it is because they don't have a schedule and their biggest sponsor is closed down,
Right.
right? So I'm not saying they're going to go out of business, but it does look like maybe they stretch themselves a little too thin. That's
Right.
my guess. again, might be totally wrong. This is just speculation and conjecture.
Could be a
I've
coincidence.
also heard rumors about another, I won't say the name, but another big bad company is going to shut down, that they've let out most of their employees go.
Hmm.
They're still going to sponsor their pros, but they're shutting down. All of this again is in the rumor mill,
Right.
but and we've seen it. Like bad companies start off the beginning of the year, lots of ads on social media, and then
Hmm.
where'd they go? Like
Right.
MX Cornhole, I think, was one. Every time I open up Facebook, I would get an ad from them, and where are they? I have no idea.
Right.
And if you go
Or
look at the ACL list of licensed bad companies,
right.
I'm shocked. Most of them I've never heard of. Not most. A bunch of them I've never heard of.
A lot of them I haven't heard of. It's kind of strange at how many manufacturers there are, and then just not even any kind of presence from I'd say 15 to 20% of them. Like no vendor booths,
Right.
no no jerseys, no nothing like anything to like broadcast what or this brand is like
Right.
at all.
Yeah, so I think, the cornhole world is saturated.
Hmm.
There are a few leagues.
Yeah.
So the leagues are not nearly as saturated as the bad companies are.
Right.
But when your model is to make most of your money off the bad companies and the bad companies are struggling, you're going to struggle.
Right.
And that's what I think is happening.
Hmm.
But maybe, again, I'm wrong. It's possible.
Could be.
BG's killing it.
Yeah.
I heard a rumor BG's buying everybody. They're buying all cornhole. They might even buy ACL. They're buying everybody.
I mean, maybe they should.
Maybe, well, should they? I mean,
Um.
honestly, I think if you don't know what you're doing when it comes to like running events and booking these places and getting a good event going,
Right.
watch out. I would, in other words, do you think you can just start up a league and compete with the big boys? Because that brings us to our next topic.
Kyle Butler.
Kyle Butler started a league in both North and South Carolina. Does he know something we don't know?
He either knows something we don't know, or he is just extremely bored. He either knows something or he just has nothing else to do. Which I've heard that he's a pretty busy guy. I know he's got a daughter who watches play every sport known to man.
Yeah.
Um, Love you, Kyle. Good dude. I appreciate everything you've done. I know you've spreaded my name around, but I just think that he has big cojones for doing what he's doing in the states that he's doing.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Kyle Butler, pretty well known,
Mm.
cornhole figure, let's
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
right? He's on social media, he's on Facebook a lot, he posts a lot.
Cornhole Jesus.
Cornhole Jesus. So he posted, I think today, might have been
Mm,
yesterday, I forget.
mm,
But whatever, he
either
posted
way.
very recently that he is starting a cornhole league, and it's going to be in North and South Carolina, which is South Carolina is where the ACL headquarters are. And he described the league, and gosh darn it, it sure did sound like TCL.
It's really
I
close.
mean, it sounded exactly like
It
TCL.
yeah.
Like, we're gonna have music playing, we're gonna have ranking systems,
Little trash talking, which
backyard feel, but at a big event center. I mean,
yeah,
it's like, yeah, let's bring this TCL vibe across the country, and that should happen, right?
it needs to happen.
Yeah, this like, the cornhole in a library with the ACL. There are cool things about it, but I don't think that's what everybody
Is
wants.
there?
There's some cool things about it, yes. The not, I won't get into that. I think I've gone into that in the show already before. But
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
could want to compare and contrast the vibes, for some people who don't want to party,
Yeah.
maybe ACL is better. But for the most people want to party, right? It's the weekend. Let's hang loose. Let's do stuff. So, um, we'll see. I do you think he's going to be successful?
The yes, I think he definitely can be successful. I think the biggest question is how much of a tantrum is he going to catch from Big Brother?
Is
Just
Big Brother ACL?
yeah,
Well, I mean, what can they do? Tell their pros you can't play in the league?
yeah. I mean, I'm sure they can
Which
actually.
brings me to the next question. Should pros even be able to play in these leagues? Like TCL, Butler's new league, these guys that travel around the country, literally, like
Hmm.
JBJ, Gavin Cano, they flew all the way out to California to compete in cornhole. They've got
Hmm.
all kinds of sponsors, they make lots of money. Should they be able to compete in a, let's call it a regional league, like a TCL or Butler's league? Should they be able to?
I I definitely think that they should. I think that they should if because you're using the word regional. So
Yeah.
if you're talking regional and if they live there, then yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't see if the complaint is coming from people that don't want to get beat by pros, then sorry about you. Get better. I mean, and this is coming from a either really bad B player or a pretty good C player. I don't mind playing against pros because if I want to get better, that's the people I need to play against. I mean, they have better mindsets. Have a better they have a better everything. That's why they're there. Um, I don't think that you should just cut out people from being able to play, whether they're pro or not.
Well, you're not necessarily cutting out people. Well, you are cutting out people,
Yeah, you're cutting
right?
out pros.
But the reason is you've decided to make it your profession to be a cornhole player.
Yeah.
And the league that we have is not for professionals. It's for people that like to, hang out and throw bags and not take it so seriously.
So I guess more like on a league night type thing, like you don't want these people showing up, or just in general,
Yeah.
like tournament
I mean,
days.
look at the big TCL events as an example.
Uh huh.
Almost all of them are won by pros. All the big open singles or whatever you want to call it, the new thing they have, it's always won by the pros. I think we
Mm-hmm.
have one example, which was uh, Chase Lester and the Silent Assassin. They won
Mm-hmm.
a doubles once, okay, one time so far, but
Right.
it's like it seems like the pros are using these regional leagues to subsidize their ACL career.
You are kind of fueling the fire as far as like you're giving them more places to earn money, um, for these extra leagues. Um, I just don't. I don't believe that cutting out pros is going to make any league better or not. I think pros can actually attract people to your league. Say for Kyle Butler's instance, if
Yeah,
he's playing in the Carolinas, I mean, you've got Jamie Graham coming to your league to play at these tournaments. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to want to go just because Jamie Graham is there.
just to watch them.
Yeah, just to watch him. I mean, that's what we want, right? We want to grow the sport, so um, you want to bring in spectators or players that might not play as much throughout the weekend because they're not as good or they're fresh to the game, but they know, hey, Jamie Graham's going to be playing and he might be on this, whether it's a broadcast court or whatever. I want to go and sit and watch this. And cutting out pros, you're just going to be bringing in the people that want to play cornhole. You're not bringing in a spectator sport, whether it's ACL, Kyle Butler's league, TCL, whatever.
But they don't charge tickets for admission. It's really not a spectator sport. If you want to watch it, you can go home and watch the live feed.
Mm, that's true. That's
And look,
true.
I'm just arguing with you, and I'm playing devil's advocate.
No, I mean,
My opinion is sure, let them play. Let
right,
open be open, and let whoever wants to show up and play play.
right.
And if you want to do something different for the pros, go ahead. But I'm with you, to be honest. I
Yeah.
think just let them play. There's no reason you should not let somebody play. I've just been trying to argue and make the
Oh yeah,
point
of course.
because I've heard a lot of people make the argument that yeah, pros should be able to play in TCL or Kyle just started a new league. Pros shouldn't be able to play in it. And then the question is like, what's a pro? Like ACO calls people pros, but they're
Mm,
not at the level of ACL pros,
right.
right? So, I mean, I agree with you to be honest. But
Yeah.
let anybody play. Call open though. That's the other thing that's been bugging me about TCL lately. They have a new singles thing, Pro Elite, and then they have Open. Okay.
Mm,
Now, Zeb, I love you, bro. But the fact that he has a trophy that says TCL Signature Series Open Champ Singles,
mm.
right? What is it? That means he beat everybody. That's what
It
open means.
should
That's what
mean that he
open
beat
means.
everybody.
Somebody
Yeah.
needs to teach Chad Jacobson what open means
Mm,
and change the name of the current open division because it's not open.
yeah.
Make an actual open division. I think that is ridiculous. But talking about tiers, okay? When we were talking about this episode, what we were going to talk about, you mentioned the ACO handicap system,
Hmm.
which is a way that you can have highly advanced players play with less advanced players by
Right.
giving them a handicap. People kind of freaked out about that and thought it was a horrible idea.
I don't. I don't think it's a bad idea.
You don't?
No.
What about the situation where I throw 12s all day and lose? I can literally throw 12s and lose in the handicap system. That's the big problem with it. Have you thought about that one?
I just think that yes, I have thought about it, but it's more of just you have to cap the handicap as well on their side, if that makes sense. Like,
Yes. Nobody's handicapped more than X
right,
number. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. I mean, the handicap system isn't bad. Do you like it?
I do. It goes right back to the conversation we were just having. You're complaining about pros being in there,
Yeah.
but guess what? If you have a handicap
Uh
system,
huh.
you got a chance now.
Yeah. Well, you know, when ACO first dropped the news, and it was really a guide. Like, if you want to use a handicap system, here's one to use. Well, people thought they were actually going to use it in the ACO majors and kind of freaked out.
Yeah, right.
Um, they messed up. So on the other hand, we have not on the other hand, but another solution besides handicap is the TCL tier system.
Hmm.
Okay, which people complain about because you know that's what people do.
Hmm.
They complain about it, but I think honestly, it's probably the best tier system in cornhole. Full stop. That's what I think.
Right.
But I also think it's totally unnecessary, and you could just use SPR and have like a combined SPR. Like, you know, we're gonna have a division that's open, make it actually open.
Hmm.
Next division is gonna be, you know, combined 140 or under, right?
Right.
They have a TCSM now, like a new thing that's kind of like Scoreholia or Switch.
So, yeah, metric system thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a combined under that. That way you don't have to issue and publish um, tiers, and the teams would be more balanced, right?
Hmm.
So, shout out to Zach McLean. Okay, Zach sent me some pretty interesting information, and he was promoting like a B plus type tier.
Right.
So there should be pluses. And the point here is that if you look at the SPR or the TCSM in like a B, C, and D, the gap is huge. It's like 10, 12 points in SPR. So you have like a 72, that's a B, and you have like a 59, that's a B.
Right.
Or maybe a 60, I forgot exactly.
Yeah.
But it's a big spread. So his point was, and you know as a player, by the way, that's a big difference in skill.
That's a huge difference.
Yes. So there should be B pluses. So no two B pluses cannot play together in a B tournament was the concept and the idea.
Right.
And now I think that's a good idea. But the problem is that as you start splitting and dividing and making more and more tiers, it becomes really difficult to find somebody to play with,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I think you always have the example of like people that play together all the time, now all of a sudden they can't.
Yeah.
There's Greg and Nico Para, like father, like son. You familiar with those two guys?
Yeah.
They can't play in TCL events together anymore, which is ridiculous. They're not pros.
Yeah.
Like, and I talked to the dad, and he's like, I play to play with my son. If I can't, then I'm gonna go. I'm either not gonna play or I'll do something else.
Yeah.
You know. So the tier system has its downfalls,
Hmm.
but it does create some pretty competitive games or matches.
Oh, yeah.
So what's your favorite type of TCL tournament to play in?
Well, not too well. I don't get to play in a whole lot of switches anymore. The area I live in doesn't have a whole lot going on, except for I'll shout out to Aaron Graham with East Texas Cornhole, um, starting to put in some switches around us that don't have to drive an hour plus to. So,
Yeah.
but
Is it the like it used to be at Ice House?
it used to, yeah, there's nothing in Ice House anymore. Ice House, I don't think is even a thing.
So Jason Andrews has dropped the ball. Is that right? Is that what I'm
Yeah,
hearing?
I'm trying to not say that, but
There's
yeah,
nobody out. There's nobody out there in Forney.
there's not a Dallas region.
Well, it never was Dallas. It was always
Well,
like
yeah, but
Forney or
that's
whatever.
what it was called. So
I
that's
know.
what I'm
I
just
hear
saying.
you. I hear you.
There's not a Dallas region. There's no, we were doing the thing in Crandall for a long time.
That Rusted Rail place was great.
It was perfect.
Yeah. I
I,
used to drive there. It was like 45 minutes for me.
yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it was 15 minutes for me.
Oh, wow.
So I
You
loved
were
it.
spoiled.
I was very spoiled. Ice House was 30, but I also work in Forney, so I just get off work and go. But now the closest thing to me is Rockwall or Tin Cup, Campbell. So
That's the closest thing to you is Tin Cup.
mhm.
Wow.
So I had nowhere. But now East Texas is picking back up. Either way, my favorite thing probably I really I really do enjoy switches. I like just the night, like getting somewhere 6, 7 o'clock, throwing bags for 2 or 3 hours. If you're a drinker, have a couple beers or whatever, and then just having almost like the night off. Don't get me wrong, like SIG events are great. I am a firm believer that nobody should ever throw a bag before noon. I don't like it. I can't
The
stand it.
8 a.m. starts
Dude,
around there.
no, not for me.
Yeah.
I'll never make like cause I tell myself that, why am I awake? Why am I doing this? Why am I here at 8:30 trying to throw bags? Or now it's like set up a booth or start running a booth and then turn around, throw bags, run back
Oh, you're
to,
trying to play and have
oh
a booth?
yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
so it's a pain in the butt. So
Yeah.
I don't like throwing before. I just don't feel like I'm awake. My body's not working.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably because I got a lot of this or whatever. But
Maybe.
I just don't like throwing before noon. But SIG events are great. Don't get me wrong, I love them. But I just, as far as like just going to actually throw and have a good time, it's a switch or a blind draw.
I think I like BCs.
I don't mind BCs, but I've floated between B and C so long.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
so hard to.
I like it because like those A players and pros, they have to find like the stud D
Yeah,
player, and
that's true.
they're out there, and it's
Yeah.
funny. They'll find them and they'll take them to all the events
Oh
like
yeah.
for a couple weeks before
And
they
then
get
all of a
bumped.
sudden they're bumped and they're completely done for. They got used.
Yeah, yeah. But hey, the D they got a great ride. The D
Yeah.
player did,
Oh yeah. It's
right?
like, yeah, I was partnered with so and so for 2 weeks and then all of a sudden just went away.
But I've been to a few BCs and had a really good time and thought like the tournament was very competitive.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives a chance for everybody to play
Yeah.
because you got your B's and C's, right, which are like intermediate, pretty good players. Then you got your pros and your super
Yeah.
good players, and then the guys are kind of just starting out or haven't been bumped yet.
Right.
They got to team up, and I've always thought that's like the best type of event,
Oh
you
yeah.
know. Which I guess that would be a combined SPR of like what 120, maybe
It's like
125,
a
130,
50 on an 80,
130.
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool, man. Well, I got a bag drop to prep for. I'm selling
Bag
bags
plus.
today.
Yeah.
BigDbags.com. That's my brand, which I don't have any of it here. Hold on. I meant to put these hats for sale. These are my favorite hats. It's like corduroy
It's a good looking
embroidery.
hat.
Yeah, thanks. All right, cool. So this is the Texas Cornhole Show. I'm John. That's Maddie Pruitt from Powder Keg Ltd. Check him out, powderkegltd.com. And that's it, guys. Remember, it's just a game.